do you mean breathe, breathe? Don't tell me to breathe.
Josh Giddey, now an NBA star, amongst the highest profile basketballers in Australia with an insanely bright future. It'd be easy to assume that this is how it was always supposed to be. I mean, Giddey's parents were both pro ballers. He came with pedigree, the passing, innate court vision, and physical attributes to match. But it was all but simple for Giddey on his rise to superstardom. This is a story of a young man whose tenacious work ethic and persistence catapulted him from a player perceived not good enough to represent his state to an NBA record holder and Australian basketball star. We start in the inner city Melbourne suburb of Yarraville, where Josh lived and breathed basketball. Both his mum Kim and dad Warwick played in the Australian national basketball competition, the NBL and WNBL. Warwick would feature for 15 years in the NBL, winning 2 championships with running mate Andrew Gaze for the Melbourne Tigers in the 1990s. His excellent career was recognised with his number 6 jersey retired. Josh was born towards the end of his father's pro career and would be essentially mentored by him as his dad transitioned into coaching. His first venture into organised basketball would be at the age of 8, where Giddey would trial for the Melbourne Tigers. Whilst many 8-year-olds might have been there just to throw a ball around, Giddey's coordination and basketball IQ was uncanny, going behind the back and through the legs with ease. Tigers coach Phil Darnell stated, "This was my very first time I saw Josh with a ball in his hand, and it was unbelievable." Josh would be coached at an under 12 level by Australian basketball legend Andrew Gaze, and was constantly surrounded by greats, which cultivated his love for the game. His Melbourne Tigers would boast a 61-1-1 record in the Victorian junior basketball competition between 2013 and 17, an utterly insane record. Giddey was at the core of this success, and for those in his circle, it was clear Josh had something special, a feel for the game that even the pros did not possess. Although Giddey's class was clear to those around him, it was not translating into state selections. He had dominated at the club level, but was still yet to hear that call up to the Victorian state side at the under 14, 15 and 16 level. Giddey would be rejected by the Victorian side, deemed not good enough. Although many players in the USA have multiple outlets for exposure to collegiate programs, in Australia, state and national team selection remains the primary pathway to becoming a pro. This is why state selection was so crucial to Josh. You see, mentally, Giddey had it all, with a remarkable IQ and passing ability, but physically, he struggled significantly. Whilst we regularly see kids in their early teens dunking the ball, Josh lacked the athleticism compared to his peers, with him being the only player incapable of dunking in his team. That lack of athleticism and agility often made him look very clunky on and off the ball, and being very skinny at 6'3" with no consistent jump shot, he struggled to stand out from the crowd. His rejection at 15 trialling for the under-16 Victorian side hit Giddey particularly hard. After 3 consecutive years of failure, Josh was contemplating giving the game up entirely and returning to Aussie rules football, a sport he thrived in when he was younger. A burning desire to prove the selectors and doubters wrong fueled Josh to stick with the sport, with the constant rejection giving Giddey a chip on his shoulder. With now almost a personal vendetta against Basketball Victoria, Josh trained relentlessly, taking his Tigers club to the state title, winning the MVP as a bottom-age player. The obsession was clear as Giddey trained on a Saturday morning on the court opposite the Victorian squad. If Giddey was overlooked in the past, he was now doing everything in his power to not let history repeat itself. Giddey could be described as a late bloomer, with Josh slowly growing into his body as he grew from 6'3" to 6'8". He knew he was lacking athleticism and was willing to put in the time, contacting his coach Philip Darnell about a jumping program. At just 15, he would work tirelessly on his athleticism, partaking in the program, whilst also training daily with Andrew Gaze, improving his jump shot. Giddey was put into the Tigers under-16 first team as the team's youngest player, but knew this would limit his game time, so he asked to be put in the second team so he could start. Remarkably, Giddey brought the second team to the final, winning the finals MVP in a season where he learnt to take over. This would all lead up once again to the Victorian basketball trial, in what was a make or break for Giddey. He had put in the work and he was ultimately rewarded as he was selected for the Victorian side. This kickstarted Josh's career as he went from possibly giving it all up to a national prospect in a matter of a year. With this selection into the Victorian team, Josh would arise on the radar for Australia's NBA Global Academy, a hub for the 16 best male and female basketball prospects in the country to be trained and supervised by NBA-level coaches. He travelled 600 kilometres from Melbourne to Canberra to live on the Global Academy premises and was trained into the ground. This scholarship was integral to Giddey's self-belief as it confirmed to him that he had potential to feature in the NBA. Giddey would feature in his first tournament for Victoria at the Australian Junior Championships in 2019, where Giddey dominated, putting up 20 points, 8.3 rebounds and 6 assists a game. It was a breakout tournament that garnered him international attention. D1 NCAA colleges were nipping at his heels, with Colorado, Washington State and Utah the frontrunners. 2 trips to the USA between 2018 and 19 only helped his cause, as Giddey faced some of the top international and American high school competition and once again dominated. The hype was real. Colleges from all over the US were blowing up Giddey's phone. With this being a distraction, the Josh Giddey fan page was made by Phil Donnell, Josh's coach. This was a Facebook page where NCAA scouts were invited privately to analyse Giddey's performances. It was not only colleges that were interested though, but Australia's National Basketball League, the NBL, with NBL Commissioner Jeremy Loliga offering Josh Giddey to forego college and become a pro under the NBL Next Stars program. Only a year prior, Josh was not being recognised as a talented enough player to make his state team, and now he was being considered by both the NBL and college with unlimited options. Whilst weighing up his options, he would star in 2 tournaments that highlighted him as an NBA certainty and Australia's top talent. Representing Victoria in the 2020 Under-20 Australian Men Championship, Giddey would put on a show, putting up the best numbers across the tournament, with the cherry on top being his 27 points, 10 rebound and 8 assists game that included this shot. An MVP award with the NBA Global Academy at an international tournament that featured the best European teams on earth solidified to Giddey that he was really him. Giddey now had a decision to make. Go to college, a route that had been proven to be successful for decades, or take the gamble and go professional straight out of high school. Giddey, like he had done his whole career, was only going to make the decision on his own terms. He knew he had the ability, but needed the best opportunity to showcase it. Josh had played in age divisions above his age his whole life, so the prospect of competing against seasoned pros excited him. He had seen the success of LaMelo Ball only a year prior and the successful transition into the NBA, recognizing the similarities in their games. At one point, he was all but certain to join Pac-12 program Colorado, but the uncertainty of playing time and relocating during the pandemic swayed him to sign with the Adelaide 36ers in the NBL. The 17-year-old would join under the NBL Next Stars program, and much like LaMelo Ball, was given the reins to the 36ers offense. It's safe to say the transition was rough. Although predictable in hindsight considering he was 17, Giddey struggled significantly with the pace and physicality of the NBL, looking considerably rushed, whether it was with his high turnover rate or cold shooting, which resulted in Josh making only 2 of his first 23 pointers. Giddey said early on he lacked confidence and self-belief, wondering if he belonged in the league. These doubts would slowly correct themselves as from then on, Giddey found not only his stroke shooting 36.7% from 3-point range, but also his feel, finishing the season averaging 10.9 points, 7.4 rebounds and a league-leading 7.5 assists per game. He had a 4-game stretch where he tallied 3 triple-doubles, becoming the youngest player to ever record back-to-back triple-doubles in the NBL. At 17, this was honestly remarkable, with his season statistics mimicking LaMelo Ball's, with both players winning NBL Rookie of the Year awards. Ball's season left a blueprint for Giddey to follow, and with Ball entering the NBA as the 3rd pick, winning the Rookie of the Year award in 2020, there were high hopes for Josh. After Josh's monster season in the NBL, he was projected to be drafted late in the lottery in the 1st round. Giddey wanted to give himself every opportunity to improve his draft stocks, and an exhibition with Australia helped him do that, already featuring with the national team with a gold medal at the under-17 level at the Oceania Games, and a debut earlier in 2021 in a game against Hong Kong. This Olympic tune-up match against Nigeria, where Giddey put up 14, 4 and 3 in 24 minutes, only pushed him further up the draft board. He would not be selected into the Olympic team due to his commitments for the NBA draft, but the experience only helped his cause. Giddey took a simple approach to the draft, foregoing the NBA draft combine, as he really didn't have much to showcase in terms of athleticism and agility. His intangibles and playmaking were his strengths, and they could already be seen in his season in the NBL. Only 2 workouts were taken, with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Golden State Warriors, who held the 6th and 7th draft picks in the 2021 NBA draft. Giddey said he shot tremendously in these private workouts and felt he had done all he could. Although optimism was high in the Giddey camp, there were still major criticisms of his game. This pre-draft scouting report epitomized the skepticism around Giddey's game. It was memed as it made it seem like his entire game was a weakness, so it was a surprise to many when he was selected early in the NBA draft.
With the 6th pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Josh Giddey from Melbourne, Australia, and the NBA Global Academy.
An outstanding outcome for Giddey, who was selected 6th for the Oklahoma City Thunder. From that day forward, his life would change tremendously. The private jets, 5-star hotels, and the $27 million contract. Giddey had now made it into the big time, and with that came immense expectations. The NBA Summer League, a tournament to showcase the youngest star prospects, followed the draft, with this being the first opportunity for most American audiences to watch Josh Giddey play. His first touch was tremendous, a quick two-hand dunk to set the tone. Unfortunately, his next resulted in an ankle injury which not only ruled him out of the game but the entire Summer League. The online hate was rampant as he was already labelled a bust. Giddey would steer the ship throughout preseason and look prepared for the regular season though. He started in the backcourt alongside superstar Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He started the season solid with glimpses of promise, but it wasn't until Shai succumbed to an injury that we saw Giddey really shine. On the 3rd of January, Giddey would record his first ever triple-double in the NBA with a stat line of 17 points, 13 rebounds and 14 assists. He was really doing it all at just such a young age. In fact, what made this game truly special is Josh became the youngest ever player to record a triple-double at 19 years and 84 days, surpassing names such as LaMelo Ball, LeBron James and Magic Johnson. He would go on a tear with 2 more triple-doubles, making it 3 triple-doubles in 3 consecutive games. He would become the second ever rookie to do this, joining Hall of Famer Wilt Chamberlain. His performance at the mecca of basketball, the Madison Square Garden, was truly a masterpiece. A 28-point, 11-rebound, 12-assist performance in an overtime victory really put his name into the mainstream. With a further triple-double in the month, he would tie Luka Doncic for the most for a teenager in the history of the NBA. His outstanding play granted him selection into the Rookie Showcase at All-Star Weekend, with high praise even given by LeBron James.
He's really, really, really good. He has a great pace about the game, great vision. I've always loved pass-first guards. You know, Josh is one of those kids who can definitely see the game a lot quicker than a lot of guys out on the floor. And he's shown, I think he got like 3 straight triple-doubles.
Following the All-Star Weekend, Giddey would be shut down for the remainder of the year due to a hip injury. Even though he won 4 of the 5 Western Conference Rookie of the Month awards, he would miss out on the Rookie First Team honours, making the second team. Even with the injury that forced him to miss the last 2 months of the season, Josh Giddey felt snubbed. Fast forwarding to early in the 2022-23 NBA season, Giddey has continued his solid play, slowly meshing with his partner Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, with the Thunder playing much more competitive basketball. A triple-double in his second consecutive game at the Madison Square Garden put him again with Wilt as the only player to achieve such a feat. Josh Giddey, at just 20 years of age, remains one of the brightest prospects in the NBA and has potential to be our greatest Australian export ever. Truly remarkable for a guy that wasn't considered good enough to represent his state only 5 years prior. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below on what videos you want to see next. We are currently in the NRL off season, so I'm experimenting with all different types of sporting videos. So just let me know whatever type of videos you want down below and I'll have a look through them. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time.